Hi, Happy New Year. It's been a while since my last video, and I'm actually coming with part two. I let a while pass and I let all the comments settle down and everything. And I decided to extract a few of them. I chose 11, which I'm going to look at. So you're going to find timestamps. The question remains, do women even love men? But this time I'm not answering the original question. For that, I encourage you to check out the other video. I'll link it under this one. Now I'm answering some of the comments that I received under that video. For those of you that are new to my channel, hi, this is Liana, Holistic Intimacy Coach. I help you get your orgasmic intimacy if you're open to it. What I also want to comment or make a remark is that the video in question, in the comments that I got 95% views from non-followers, non-subscribers to the channel. So it reached out way beyond my Liana sphere. That's what I call my community. I guess YouTube considered it was a good suggestion for other people. I am still going to address mainly the people that are here. Just because somebody comes once and checks a video, not necessarily interested in what I have to say over the long run. What I also want to say is that I deleted a few comments that were really insulting to women. I am not interested to hold space to that kind of attitude. I think there's a lot of that on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok. It's a lot out there, on Reddit, on other places. I'm not interested in that kind of attitude. If you want to come here and talk bad about women because you've got your reasons, this is not the place. So that being said, let's begin. The first comment was really funny. What do women want? More. I thought that was very funny. I actually promised that I would use this one, quote it in the future. So first of all, I'm beginning with this one. I really amused myself with it, and I think sometimes it really serves us to also make fun. All right, now we're going to get into the heavy stuff. The first comment long comment that I'm going to address is this one. The problem I see with your answer is that folks in new relationships wanted to carry on so badly that they fail to reveal their true selves. Many times their true selves do not come out for as long as 2 years. So asking a partner about what they would do or feel when some challenge happens in their life does not necessarily reflect a truth about how they really act 2 years down the road. All right, so the comment is complex. I did address the first part of the comment, which was answering beforehand. That's what I said in the original video, that it does really help us to answer honestly and truthfully a question in advance. So before we enter a relationship, just ask a person how they feel about struggling or challenging times. What do they do? And I did acknowledge something here that people don't always know, because there are all kinds of challenges or situations that can appear that they haven't lived prior, so they don't know how they would react. And that's a totally valid reasoning. And in that sense, people can lose their jobs. People can have a parent or somebody really important to them die. In some cases, married couples, can have children die. That one really tears out apart couples, and it's no joke. So this kind of heavy life situations, obviously, you don't know. Like, you can start to think about what you would do in that situation, but you don't know until you get there. And it's totally with good reason to say that sometimes you just don't know yourself until you get to that point. So yeah, just because you speak with somebody in advance doesn't mean that they can know 2 years down the line, as this person says. You don't know what you would do. That's totally valid. On the other side, a lot of people just lie. And they lie because they simply want to make the relationship happen no matter what. And I think that one comes down to having the courage to be honest about who you are, what you are, and not cling to a relationship just because there's no other prospect and you don't want to be alone. And here, I do want to say this. One of the women in my community reached me when she was about to get a divorce. She had married really young. She had never had sex with anybody but her husband. She had had no education around it, no education around emotions, around relationships. She reached me when she was in her 40s, so this was many years ago. There was not a lot of information back then as there is now. And she said it at the time, just because somebody's married doesn't mean they're in a happy relationship. It doesn't mean that their life is good. She was in a traumatic relationship. And this wasn't the only one, but this was the one client that I actually had, which she was in a really rough spot. So yeah, it bears to say this, that just because you find somebody doesn't mean that you're going to function with them, doesn't mean, there's no guarantee that you're going to be well off in a relationship. So a lot of these guys that are commenting, men want to be in the relationship and they stay there even when the going gets rough. Actually, in this relationship, it was the guy that cheated on the woman and he asked for a divorce also. And they had a kid. The kid remained with the mom and this guy went on. So it's not always the case. I think it's really important to not generalize. We can't really speak on behalf of all men and all women on the planet. A lot of the comments that I'm going to address here in this video actually generalized. And in fact, what they did was make a lot of projections. Here, this person didn't make projections. They were really balanced about it. I really appreciated it. But down the line, you're going to see that the comments get more and more extreme, one-sided, lopsided, I would say also. And they project the reality of one person onto the whole planet, which is really not the case. Okay, so in this case, yeah, with this answer, not everybody knows themselves ahead of time with all the challenges. Okay, now the next comment. This is really deep what you're saying, because that would limit the pool of women that could possibly love men, even when they struggle, to a very small number comparatively. It may be that many women feel like they do not fit the standard, but refuse to admit it to themselves due to fear or insecurity. I think that is a serious possibility as well. So what I was saying in the previous video is that there are women who can love men. Those are the women that do not fit the standard, so they have to challenge it. And I was mentioning there what the standard was, what the relationship, how they're all built around standards and so on. And when a woman faces the reality that she doesn't fit the mold, she's going to start to question it. And she's going to look for, because she's not spoiled by society overall, she's going to look for authentic support because she's been through a lot of pain, obviously. And this comment says that it would limit the pool of women that could possibly love men to a small number comparatively. I'm going to address this one head on. I don't know how many women fit the standard. I don't consider myself fitting the standard, the beauty standard for women. A lot of women don't fit it. Also, depending on where you live on the planet, I don't live in an Anglo-Saxon country. I don't live in Western Europe. Okay, I live in Southeastern Europe. My country is Romania, former Soviet communist bloc. There are more women here than women. The situation is different. It's different here from the West. And it's different from the Anglo-Saxon worlds. So I don't feel that this limited pool that this person is mentioning is actually truthfully the case. I don't think we can generalize. It's really risky to generalize when it comes to women. I don't have statistics on my side, neither to dispute or support what he's saying. I only gave my answer, and I said that there are women. I can't really say if they're the majority or the minority. Really, I can't say that. There's not enough data out there, or data. I think the more we're going to get digitalized, the easier it will be to get those numbers in terms of what the standards are, how many women actually fit them, how many women actually seek the conventional marriage, why women don't seek the conventional marriage. There are many reasons, not just because they are spoiled. There are many other very justified reasons which are not really gonna be to the liking of a lot of men to hear. So there are many women that have suffered or they have seen their mothers and grandmothers suffering in marriages, suffering abuse, aggression. And yeah, when you've seen that, you don't want to repeat that. And there's a highly large chance that if you were a woman that saw that in her family, had that one generation, 2 generations before her, you're not going to be so tempted to get married. Not just because you should, because you know what your family has been through. Those are stuff to consider. So I don't know how limited the pool is. We don't have enough information. That's the only comment that I'm going to make here. So it's important not to generalize. Okay, another comment sent like this. The present economy, with wages often way too low for raising a family, is leaving a lot of men out of the running. Also, the online dating scene makes everything impersonal, and we have a very materialistic society. If women are too picky, they'll hit the wall between 30 and 40. It helps to be a good judge of character. So there are a lot of layers to this answer. First of all, yes, the present economy leaves a lot of people, men and women, unable to sustain a family. And in most families, it's both parents, the man and the woman, mother and father, that actually have to work in order to make ends meet to sustain a family. So I think the answer here is not just most cases, in most economies, both parents have to work. That's the genuine truth, not because women want to be independent, but because they need two income sources, two income streams in the family in order to keep the family healthy and at a reasonable level of existence. Yeah, so that I do agree with it. It doesn't just fall on men. This, at least this in the country where I live, that's the reality. Both parents need to work. Both income streams are needed. That's one. The dating scene makes everything impersonal. I, for one, know this very well, and even in my 20s, I tried dating and I also saw that it's forced. It's not an organic connection, like you don't really have the time to meet the person. You're just going there with the person with the purpose to date. And I didn't like that. So I don't go dating. And the dating apps, what a freaking joke. Like, no way, thank you. I made a lot of videos about this. I'm one of the women that, a lot of women that actually don't like dating apps. And they don't like what is going on there. And we're being pushed down with a highly sexualized and commercially sexualized message through the dating apps, which I personally don't really, as much as I am a sex coach, I don't sustain that and I don't support it. It's pushed down a lot on people. Why? To consume. As for the wall that he mentioned, this one is a manosphere message. And I want to break down here just 2 examples. The first one I gave it in the answer to this person, and I told him about my mother's story. She got divorced when she was 40. She never remarried. She had been married. It's not that she hit the wall when she was 30 or 40. She had 2 kids by the time. She had an unhappy marriage. She said, you know what? I'm better off without this man, my dad. And I'm going to raise the kids on my own because, well, my dad was not reliable. That's my family history. Why was he not reliable? Yeah, we can get into therapy and into his dad's case and all that. So not the case for this video. But this was one example. This one was close to home. The second example that I have here is Keanu Reeves and Alexandra Grant. Alexandra Grant and Keanu Reeves, they don't have kids. They met when Alexandra Grant was in her late 40s. She has white hair, doesn't do plastic surgery and all that, so she ages naturally. This woman couldn't care less about hitting the wall. And let me tell you, she got one great guy. A lot of women on this planet want a Keanu Reeves for themselves. Believe me. Do you think it's why does everybody reduce women just to their ovaries and eggs and ability to have kids? Not everybody on this planet is going to have kids. That was the case many years back, and this is the case even more so now. That doesn't mean people are doomed to be single just because they're not having kids. And hitting the wall, telling a woman that she hits a wall when she's 30 or 40, means that you're reducing a woman to just her ovaries. And this doesn't serve your purpose. For men, I'm saying this because you're saying that women see only what you can provide for them. Well, this comment, this line of thinking reduces a woman just to what she can provide for you. So how are you any better than the women that you're saying they only use you? They can't love you for who you are. So this line of thought, totally not going to help your case. Not every couple wants kids. I have many couples around me in my social circle. They married, they don't want kids. They married in their late 40s. Some were married, I don't know, 2 times, 3 times also. Not everybody is. So the wall doesn't exist. It's just in the minds of people that want to standardize, and they're so pissed off that they want to reduce the opposite sex to just one thing. It's not going to help anybody. Okay? Really. And it's not going to help any woman out there to say that a guy is unresourceful when he's young. Nowadays, we see a lot of couples between young men and older women. Not old, older. Okay? I don't consider a woman at 40 old. This is also like a lot of people have a limited view on life. I, for one, look at a long lifespan. So 40, for instance, I'm not even halfway through my life. I do strive for my health, for my well-being. So, old, maybe when you're 60, 70, maybe we can start talking about that then. But you can talk about it with Tom Cruise, by the way. I mean, you tell him he's old and we'll discuss that. Here's another comment. My view. Some women love some men, but only if they feel that the conditions are right. This involves feeling that she's a 10 and he is a 10. Both parties have to feel the same way. So many things need to be satisfied first. Otherwise, any relationship is off the table. I have never had a relationship myself. If you can have a relationship and sustain a relationship, then you're fortunate indeed. My heart goes out to this man. And I do think that he pointed out something very, very important here. Women and men need to feel good about themselves to be in a relationship. And trust me, that is the very foundation of doing personal work. You're ready for a relationship when you've worked out your drama, trauma, your negative stuff, and you come off. You show up in an interaction, in dating, in any kind of social circle where you meet a potential partner in a good place. You're good within, you're at peace, you're emotionally stable, and you come up from this really beautiful place. That's the essence of, that's why we do self-work, to show up for relationships in a beautiful way. So this guy, really, my heart goes out to this guy for this beautiful comment. He owns the fact that he was never in a relationship. I do hope that he works on himself, whatever his life path was, and that he meets a good woman for him, and that he is a good man for her, and that they be in a relationship. And look at Keanu Reeves. It took him a long time to find the right woman for him. So really, I have a very good opinion of him. He had his struggles like a lot of us do. He didn't cave in. I hope that's the right expression. And he stuck to his path. He filmed a lot of stuff, great stuff out there, inspired a lot of people, helped a lot of people. So that's the kind of path that we all want to go on, at least in my opinion, really. Like Keanu Reeves is a really good role model for me. If I had an older brother, this guy would be him. If I had a choice in it. Next comment. No, they don't. Women see men as objects of looks, height, power, status, money, pre-selection, pleasure, and entertainment. If you don't satisfy those, she doesn't even see you as a man, as a human, sorry. Whoa, brother. At this point, I feel that we really need to point out, like the previous guy said, my opinion or my view on it. This is this guy's view. It's not all women on the planet, really. There are people that actually live different lives. There are people that meet the right person for them. They have beautiful relationships, beautiful families. And there are people who go through suffering and pain, but they work through it and they come off on a clean slate, at least to show up as a human being on the planet and not carry this kind of negative charge. So actually, in the answer that I gave here, I did say that when I also went, because I went through my share of pain, I had to go through my own pain, basically. So when I didn't work on it, I also felt like, wow, men just want to have sex and they use women and they don't respect them. They don't care about their freaking feelings. They say that they do. They say they want a relationship. And then after a while, when they get to bed with you, not on the first or second date, I'm not one of the people that goes for that. Then they just move on and they carry on, or they keep 2 or 3 women at the same time. And that sucks. And when I was in my 20s, because I grew up with a mother and a father that didn't have education around dating or around relationships, I wasn't warned about this kind of stuff. Honestly, there are a lot of women that, and a lot of men that aren't educated from when they're kids about relationships, the traps, and all of that. And they're not also educated to do self-work if they get into pain, to not carry it on with them for their lives and spread it forward. So that needs to be said. So I also used to think that men sucked, but then I started doing self-work, and I want to encourage this guy, man, do self-work, spiritual work, personal growth work. It's going to help you, at least not to carry that kind of a negative charge, because it's a pity. Why the heck would you want to carry that around, even if you don't find the right woman for you? That's how I see it. Even if I don't find the right man for me, I'm not saying he has to be perfect. I'm just saying the right man for me. Even if I don't meet him, I still want to do personal work. I don't want to carry low energy around, honestly. Okay, next answer. The answer is overwhelmingly no. They love to say that they do, but the most they'll ever love of a man is the love of how they make them feel. It's a truly vampiric existence, but that's how it's created to be. And we're wired to seek being devoured. Oh, brother. That's like the answer that he got. You can pause the video and read the answer. I totally agree with it. That's a really low... Jesus, what kind of upraising did this guy have? That's not how it is. Just because some of us, both men and women, meet crappy people on our path. By the way, we're all on a growth path in this life. And sometimes some of us need to meet those shitty people that treat us like crap in order to grow stronger inside. Or at least that's the invite there. When you meet a challenge in your life, the invite, spiritual invite, I really want to point this one out there. The spiritual invite for your soul is to grow bigger than that, because you can grow bigger than a challenge unless you die. Okay? If it's the end of your life, you can't grow any stronger than that, obviously. If you didn't die, you have the potential to outgrow that crap, whatever it was. So seek being devoured. No, you don't need to do that, neither as man or as woman. There's a lot of material out there around how to not have energetic vampires in your social circle, or in your family sometimes, or in your intimate relationship. There is a lot of help from the therapeutical side of it and personal growth side of it. There are a lot of dating coaches that will help you with this. So no, I really hope that you find the right guidance to get out of that mindset. And the comment that he got, I think the woman deleted it. I couldn't find it anymore. I got a chance to screenshot it before she deleted it, but this was the answer that she got. So really, we don't have to go through the stuff that you say here. Neither men and women. Okay, next comment. This one's from a woman. I hate to say it, but I have wondered this about myself. Am I able to love a man? Or am I just looking for my advantage? If I lose respect for a man, it's a death knell for me. I can't get beyond it. And unfortunately, this can happen inside a marriage, especially if he deceived you about many things. So you can pause the video to check out the answer that I gave her. Here, I'm just going to make this comment. I don't see any kind of relationship, friendship, social relationship in a family, like the family that you're born in, work relationship, or even intimate relationship, where respect lacks from both sides or just one side, and that to be a functional relationship. I just can't see it. So if you seek respect, and everybody seeks to be respected, it's not just a man thing, it's a human thing. We all want to be dignified in a relationship as human beings. If that lacks there, that's not going to function. And that doesn't mean you're seeking your advantage. There are two different things here. As for the give and take in a relationship, as long as we're human beings embodied in this reality with all the conditioning of the human nature, all of us need things from the others. No man is an island. That's a big expression that we need to remember. All relationships, business or work, friendships, social relationships, family relationships, intimate marriage relationships, all of them have a trade in it. Everybody gives something to the other. It's not one-sided. So this one is intrinsic of human nature. If anybody can live without that, please show me that person. I want to know how they can live without needing things from other human beings, including their wife or including their husband. Okay, we need to get some grounded perspectives on intimacy. Nobody's looking just to get an advantage. So everybody's giving and receiving in a relationship. If it's a healthy one, if it's not a healthy one, then it's an invite for both people in that relationship from life. It's an invite to do self-work on themselves. There's got to be a give and take. It may not be balanced at all times, depending on what happens with each individual, sickness, various other challenges that's of life, but there's always a give and take. That one, again, we need relationship education here, a lot of it. That's the reality of planet Earth and relationships on planet Earth, really. So that was my answer to her. We're not looking for advantages. It's human nature to trade things. Next comment. He wasted the question asking a woman. Men love women for real. We love you the way you are physically, mentally, and emotionally, not for what you can offer us. Men risk losing their comfortable life to bring a woman into his life that can almost always have the potential to lower his peace and happiness, with the less than likely potential she improves his life. Women love men for how they can make a woman feel and what he can provide for her that other women don't get. The obvious answer is no. Women don't truly love men. They love what men can offer them. As soon as a man offers less value to that woman, her first thought most often is, what other options are out there that I can potentially take advantage of? Okay, what I said earlier, this is this guy's perspective that he's projecting onto the entire planet. Also, he didn't like my answer. Just because you don't like somebody's answer doesn't mean that the answer isn't valid. What I would say to a person like this, based on what he says, I'm going to quote him. Men risk losing their comfortable life to bring a woman into his life that can almost always have the potential to lower his peace and happiness, with the less than likely potential she improves his life. Just based on that, I would totally encourage this man to steer clear of women and do personal growth work, spiritual work. With this kind of mindset, this guy really shouldn't be in relationships. They can't, with this kind of mindset, they can't produce anything good for him. Believe me when I say this, there are happy couples out there. There aren't any perfect relationships, neither in families, neither in friendship, neither in anything. Human existence is not perfect. Neither are intimate relationships. But there's a different way of looking at them. There's a much healthier way. This guy has a really pessimistic view on relationships and on women. So totally, if he's good and peaceful and happy on his own, then he shouldn't seek relationships with women, really. Honestly, he's better off without them. But for this guy, I would say personal growth work, spiritual work, that would totally help him a lot. And anybody that thinks like this, man or woman, totally worth doing personal work. And I wish the best to anybody that goes through this kind of rough, I don't know what kind of experiences, to stick to that kind of mentality. All right, now, next comment. I think this is nonsense. Narcissists are incapable of love. Non-narcissistic women can and do love men. It can be very hard to find non-narcissistic women because society grooms women to be narcissistic. They are the protected class, and so they come to expect to be treated that way. The world revolves around them. They are the queen bee, and men are the workers. Women who view the world in this manner, and most are raised to, are incapable of love. Okay, so first of all, I think this guy's coming, Andrew White. Andrew White is probably coming from an Anglo-Saxon world. I don't live in that world. There are many other cultures on this planet that are not like this. In Romania, when we go dating, we don't start thinking, is this guy a narcissist or is this chick a narcissist? We don't have that, okay? There are a lot of trends in the online, in Anglo-Saxon worlds that don't apply in other cultures. I found a video, and I'm not sure if I can, I don't know if I can find it again. I found it a while back. It was by an Asian guy who had discovered women in Southeastern Europe, former communist bloc. And the reality in China is that there are more men there than women. Different video to explain that, but men there have a shortness of choice. So they're looking for other cultures where to find women. And this guy was speaking highly of Romanian women, Bulgarian women, Ukrainian women, Russian women, and other Estonian, other Georgian, so all the countries in the former Soviet communist bloc, and how we were groomed, raised. Our culture is a bit different. Like the communist regime changed the mindset. We didn't have a democracy here for many years. Society is different here. Both men and women here think differently. I think Andrew White isn't aware that the rest of the planet is not like the Anglo-Saxon world. But until he discovers that, I hope he discovers it while he's still, I don't know, in good health, young, able to marry, and maybe he just goes dating on a different place than Anglo-Saxon worlds. It's a thought, really. I don't feel women are raised that way, but again, I live in a completely different culture from the West. So obviously my perspective is different. I would totally encourage this guy also to go for personal growth work, spiritual work. I think, again, anybody that suffers a lot and comes to think this way about people, they carry a lot of negative emotions. And I think it's a pity for our lives to carry around that kind of stuff. I can't stress this one enough, and I can't say it enough times. Do personal growth work. You're going to be way better off, even within yourself. Like you're going to relate to women differently, even if it's just in a social circle or at work or anywhere else, even if you don't engage intimately with them. And trust me, again, I've shared this with other answers. I've been through my pain also. A lot of the women that work with me have been through their pain. And they do personal growth work, not necessarily expecting to find a great guy for them, because compatibility is important here, just because they don't want to carry around that low emotional and intellectual mindset with them for their life. Really. Quality of personal life, your individual life, is also important. You're better off for everybody else around you, like your family, your society, if you're much happier and you don't carry around this kind of negative mindset. Okay, next comment. Here it comes. No, they don't. They get attracted and infatuated based on primal provision and genetic traits. So do men for children and family. But a man will stay as a woman's agency declines. If a man falters, she will monkey branch, divorce, look for the next thing. Not always, but mostly. Again, I want to point this out. This guy is projecting his perspective based on his life experiences to the entire planet. Trust me, I've lived in a family where the man was unreliable. And by the way, my mom had offers after she got divorced. She was no longer interested. She just wanted to raise her two daughters to the best of her ability. And she was also the pillar for not just her family, but for dad's family, because my dad was really unreliable. So that was close to home. There are other experiences like that. I've had many friends that went through their parents' divorce and the kids remained with their mom. Fathers didn't necessarily pay alimony. This isn't an Anglo-Saxon world where I was raised. So really, when guys come to me with this kind of comments, I'm like, dude, maybe in your world that's the case. In my world, not the case. Okay, we need to broaden our perspectives. Anyway, I'm not carrying around the message that men suck. I work my shit out, and I'm doing the best that I can to be in service to other women and hopefully men. And I do want to encourage everybody, please do personal growth work. It's not the case for all women, much like it's not the case for all men to be like my dad was or like many fathers of friends that I had. Okay, so no generalization here, honestly. Okay, one more comment. I think women don't love men, and this video is not giving a yes answer anyway. Well, I actually began my answer saying, yeah, I gave a yes answer, and I gave it at minute, 7:29 in that video. And then I said, I don't give just yes and no answers because life is never that simple. Relationships, anybody that's been through a relationship knows that it's not black and white. There are many nuances, there are many emotions there are many stuff that you need to work through. Relationships take a lot of work. Just saying that all women, like I can't even speak on behalf of all women on the planet. I haven't met them. Cultures are different, realities are different, families in which we were raised are different. The people that we meet on this planet are different. So our life perspectives and our choices and the way we see things revolve around all these factors. And if you expect a yes or no answer, one, you got the wrong channel. Two, I don't think you're going to find it anywhere unless you just want to hear somebody confirming what you believe, but what you believe is based on just your experiences, not the entire planet's experiences. And I think it's important to have role models. Even if they're not in your social circle, at least seek role models out there that you know of that are healthy, that can inspire you and give you hope and optimism. Why is it good? Well, first of all, it's good for your health. Trust me, a sick person, mentally, emotionally, or physically, is not going to be helpful for society. So it really, really helps us to clean our shit from within. I started doing that on my own before I began coaching others. And it really is worth showing up in society in a much more constructive way. Probably not everybody on the planet will marry and find their right partner. Look at Matthew Perry. Okay, everybody knows him. He died without having met his life partner. But still, the guy left a really beautiful imprint for us, all of us. And he had his stuff to work on. Everybody has it. It wasn't just on women. It was the stuff that he carried from his family and all of his life. Another thing that I want to mention here, look at couples like Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. They got divorced because of stuff that they had carried in their life. They didn't work through it. And what did Brad Pitt do after the divorce? He actually went to group therapy and he went through therapy. Why? Because he was raised with a lot of, I think I read an interview. He didn't give details. He just said that he wasn't raised in the best way possible. So really, it is worth doing personal work. And because it can sometimes, even if we meet the greatest woman on the planet, like Angelina Jolie, some people consider her the greatest woman on the planet, even then we can mess up our relationship. Okay, so personal work is really important. Just like the woman in my coaching. I mentioned in the beginning this. Just because somebody's married doesn't mean that they're happy. If they didn't get the proper education and if they didn't do personal work, they can still mess up a relationship or a marriage, and they can still break up a family. And it, by the way, in this case, it wasn't the woman that decided to leave, it was the man. So, and I don't think we should pass down judgment on relationships and on other people because we just don't know how they were raised. I think it's important that we all do personal work and clean up our shit as much as we can, because everybody's got different capacity to clean up their shit and show up in a better way than maybe we were raised. All of us, men or women. So that's how I see it. I think this video should be called Do Men Love Women? Do Women Love Men? And the answer is, well, how much work did they do individually? Yeah, this one's valid for both men and women. How much work did they do? That's how much they can love men or women. That's, if you want my answer, it's not a yes or no. It's do your work, inner work, and yes, you can show up in a better way in love relationships. All right, so that's it. Super long video. I hope that you stuck to the end, or at least chose the answers that you found most useful to you. I can be a resource to anybody that wants to do personal work through my somatic practices. It's not therapy, although these are resources that are also used in therapy. It's a more sustainable way to keep yourself balanced, financially sustainable also. It doesn't cost a fortune. I totally encourage you to use it. All right? And yes, I will always say this, do personal growth work. Therapy, spiritual work, whatever kind of work you relate with, just do it. Don't just complain online or in your life about this stuff that is out there, because there's a lot of shit on the planet. A lot of it. A lot. Not just in intimate relationships. There's a lot of shit around people. There's a lot of shit done to the environment, to other animals, other living beings. We do a lot of shit around us as a species. So if we're just going to complain about this, I don't know, maybe we should go back to kindergarten. Whether we're men or women, it doesn't matter. We either grow up, man up and woman up, and do growth work and show up better in relationships and in our lives, or, like I said, go back to kindergarten. Okay, so if you want to work with me, check out my practices, and I'll hear you in other videos with much lighter topics.